Hey, everybody.
Ready? Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our regular public council meeting for Tuesday, July 14, 2026, here in the town of Torbay. First up, new business, Councilor Manning.
Pass.
Councilor Pollard.
Pass.
Councilor Whitten.
Pass.
Councilor Goss.
Pass.
Councilor Martin.
Pass.
Deputy Mayor.
Pass.
Just got it. Where am I to? What are I in? Thanks. Okay. All right. Is there anybody for the first Q&A session? Could you get your name for
Oh, sorry, Danielle Broomfield. Okay.
Danielle Broomfield?
Hi, Danielle.
Okay. All right.
There's an addition to the agenda name.
No addition to the agenda. There's a motion here, right, from Recreation?
Yes.
Okay, we'll just add that for change order. Thank you. All righty. Motion to adopt the agenda as amended, please.
So moved.
Moved,
Second.
seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried. Thank you. All right, we got a set of public council minutes for June 15th. Could I get a motion to adopt, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any errors or omissions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried, thank you. Conflict of interest piece, there's a sheet there. It's just got one address on it, accessory building. And as usual, if anything comes up where there's conflict, declare it and we'll deal with it at that time. All right, proclamations. We have a proclamation for Pride Week 2026. Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. St. John's Pride, a nonprofit volunteer-run organization that serves the 2SLGBTQIA+ community, has announced the St. John's Pride Festival to be July 8th to the 19th. In unification with the city, the town of Torbay also wishes to celebrate and support the 2SLGBTQIA+ community in our town and recognize contributions and diversity. Whereas, the town of Torbay is raising awareness and understanding of the 2SLGBTQIA+ community while promoting equity, inclusivity, and a greater acceptance of diversity. Whereas the town of Torbay strongly supports the 2SLGBTQIA+ community regionally, nationally, and internationally, and strongly protests discrimination and violence. Whereas the town of Torbay promotes dignity, equal rights, self-affirmation. The Pride Festival is a means to increase awareness of the issues of the 2SLGBTQIA+ community in our town and province. Whereas the town of Torbay is celebrating and supporting our 2SLGBTQIA+ community and encourage residents to commit to continuing awareness, inclusion, and acceptance of all members of our community, regardless of orientation, gender identity, ability, class, race, age, and beliefs.
Therefore, I, Craig Scott, Mayor of the town of Torbay, being a welcoming and all-inclusive community, do hereby encourage all residents to take note of St. John's Pride Festival, get involved, participate, and support as many events taking place, and celebrate our community accordingly. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? Well, I'm glad we're doing this, and I know that we're doing Pride in July in the town of Torbay. And this past weekend, we had our couple of events that were supposed to be down at the beach stage and at the History House. I'm not sure where they were because I wasn't, unfortunately, this year I was unable to make it. But I want to thank everybody for going to that and supporting those members of our community, all members of our community. And I encourage anybody when they see something going on to get out and enjoy it. All righty. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Now, Mayor's report. Q&A. Yes. Danielle? Thank you, clerk. You can turn it on. Okay. The button on the right side.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I was actually here a couple years ago with the same concern. I know it's been an issue, so I really would like to see a crosswalk from Indian Mill Line to Lower Street. I understand that it's a provincial road, it's not owned by the town, but it's very, very dangerous, especially if we are, giving our community so many beautiful walking trails right down to the beach and stuff. People speed around that corner, and it's very, very dangerous. I go there almost every day, and I've seen people almost get hit quite frequently, actually. So I feel like, until someone gets severely hurt, then, there's going to be something done about it. But I think we need to be preventative and try our best to get a crosswalk at that spot, at that location.
Yeah, and I think council agrees with you completely.
Yeah,
And we've asked the Department of Transportation, can we put a crosswalk there?
yeah.
We asked for one there and one in front of, between the War Memorial and the Tep House.
The pack house, yeah.
And they denied us twice.
Yeah,
So I'm hopefully going to have a meeting with the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure soon.
wonderful.
And not about that, about something else, but
Yeah.
I'll slip that in while I'm talking.
Perfect.
to them.
And I feel like the more people, say this, the more hopefully it'll get traction and, there'll actually be some
I
action.
think their reasoning has got to do with sightlines, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah, that's understandable, but I'm very concerned about like our community members, and especially since I think our town is thinking about putting a new trail from Indian Mill Line right down to Riverbend, and that's where I reside, and it's going to create more traction, and it's going to be way more people going from Indian Mill Line to Lower Street down to the beach. So, yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Mayor's report now. All right, so I guess since the beginning of this month, we had a couple of events that took part in, and one of them was the high school graduation, where I was there and gave out a number of prizes and recognition on behalf of the town, and I know that the school, they really appreciate that. I did get a chance to go to the elementary school to present our awards for the Mayor for a Day contest, and the kids really enjoyed that. Then we had them over at the Canada Day celebrations to cut the cake. And I want to thank staff and everybody who showed up for that Canada Day celebration, plus our memorial service at the War Memorial. And thank you, Councillor Martin, for emceeing that, and Donna and her staff, all of our staff who helped organize it and get stuff ready. They did a great job. And something else. Oh yes, and the sunrise ceremony. We finally saw the sun. So, I think Barry said it was the first time in 21 years that we were there. I'd say it was because it was a beautiful morning, and it was kind of weird because when I left my house at Ballymine, it was fogged in completely, which is usually the opposite. It's usually fogged in down here and there. So, thank you for everybody who organized that, and the volunteers who worked on both of those events and the breakfast. So thank everybody for that. Birthdays for August. Kim Osmond. Oh, look, she's the same age as me almost. Our town clerk on August 20th. Rhonda Manning, August 1st. That must be a typo there, that birth year, gotta be. And yours truly on August 10th. And happy birthday to us all. Hopefully we have a safe and happy and fun birthday filled with all the stuff that we want and none of the stuff that we don't. All right.
Hard to believe we're talking about August already. Think about it.
I know, something, huh?
It's a long
Summer
one, no?
flies. All right, business arising report.
Question?
Yeah.
And I probably won't be able at this meeting, but certainly for the next meeting, can we get the latest update on Great Pond? Once again, I want to go over the questions that are still remain unanswered. I guess is the ownership of the land and the uses of the land in and around the pond to make sure that we're in good
Yep.
stead once and if we get the project running, and I'll say if. Funding, be soon be a year since we signed the agreement
Yep.
with the feds, if not 2 years. And we still haven't come up with a solution for our portion of that $9 million. So we need to come up with some type of plan on that. And as of yet, we haven't had any discussions around the rollout plans. And I mentioned this, I think, at the last council meeting or the previous council meeting. The financial implications, how we're gonna roll them out, and the associated with that is also what plans we're gonna do internally to control the project. I know we put the RFP out originally for the owner's advisor, and we didn't get any uptake, mainly because it was complicated and involved some additional, I guess, risk on the part of the owner's advisor, so we went back to a standard one. But I think the standard one is gonna leave us without anybody internally to actually push that project forward. We're gonna be left at the hands and the timing of the proponent who actually comes in. And previous experience has been, we're not always priority for owners, advisors, and I say that loosely because of the number of projects that they do have to undertake as well. They don't just quote on us, they quote on others, so we're not certainly gonna be their prime and dedicated priority, unless the RFP asks for a dedicated person. I'm not sure that they.
Good point.
That it? So I did send an email to Minister Thompson the other day, asking her, just advising her that it's been a while since we got our agreement, that we've been meeting with those federal officials, and we don't seem to be getting anywhere on additional funding. And I asked her, told her I would be looking forward to a meeting with her, with council, to discuss where we go from there.
Has the province signed the agreement with the feds yet on the direct stream? Can we avail of any additional?
That's where actually there was some funding that we had just had announced. What was that? It was the North. Yes, it was the North Pond money. And I don't know if that was the three-way stream, but I think they do have that funding opportunity figured out. But we can follow up on that for sure. But I do know that there was a stipulation in the other one when we went with direct funding that we couldn't avail of the provincial one, but we'd have to go back and look at that anyway. Because I think we're in a certain special circumstance, so we can always put that argument forward. All right.
Yes, hopefully, because it's a different funding stream. The one we're under is now
It's
closed.
gone,
It's gone.
yeah.
If we lose that, we don't have any more money under that project.
Right.
Under that funding stream, right?
Yeah. But I think the other questions that you got, some of them are gonna be dependent on when the RFP comes back and we see what is the path forward, you know, so it's hard to answer anything that we don't have yet in front of us. All right, you made note of all that, did you, Kim? Thank you. All right, correspondence. M&L info note, July 8, and I would say this is about summer sessions that are going on. There's, I don't know what they are. Oh, yeah, okay. They're Housing, Economic Development, Sustainable Solutions. So they have that, and the Urban Municipalities Committee is in August in Bay Roberts. The Avalon Eastern Regional Meeting is in September in Marystown. And I think then the trade show conference is in November. And that seems to be it. If you got any questions on that or interest in going into that stuff, please let Kim know and she can sign you up. All righty, moving on. Committees of Council, committee of whole motion. So first off, I'm going to pass the chair over to Councilor Pollard to chair this part of the meeting, and I'm going to get up and remove myself because I'm in a conflict on these next few items. And
And I think I should get up.
and the four of us, actually, so.
Thank you, Your Worship. Okay, so this section of, we had a privileged meeting of council to address alleged conflict of interest. And there's not much more to say about that because the motions and the background itself that Councillor Manning would read out are pretty well, I guess, self-explanatory in terms of what the questions were and what the results are. So I'm going to ask Councillor Manning to read the preamble and the associated motions, and we'll vote on it from there. Councillor Manning?
Thank you. So, council review of alleged conflicts of interest. Whereas council has received allegations that Mayor Craig Scott, Councillor Karen Goss, and Councillor Scott Martin may have been in conflict of interest respecting council's consideration of the Municipal Councillor Code of Conduct complaint and the subsequent disciplinary action taken against Deputy Mayor Tapper. And whereas pursuant to the Municipal Conduct Act, Part 2, Conflict of Interest, Council has the authority and responsibility to address allegations relating to the conduct of members of Council and to determine the appropriate process for considering such matters. And whereas Section 5 of the Municipal Conduct Act, Part 2, Conflict of Interest, provides that a conflict of interest exists where in the making of or involvement in the making of a decision. So, conflict of interest, Section 5(1). A municipal official has a conflict of interest where in the making or involvement in the making of a decision, A, the municipal official's private interests are affected, or B, the municipal official is unable to act impartially on behalf of the municipality due to the municipal official's personal relationships. 5(2), for the purposes of paragraph 1A, a decision may affect directly or indirectly a private interest where the decision may result in a gain or loss to the municipal official's private interests or the private interests of a relative. And B, a decision does not affect directly or indirectly a private interest where the decision affects the municipal official or a relative of a municipal official as one of a broad class of the public. 3, for the purposes of paragraph 1B, a municipal official is unable to act impartially where a reasonable person may conclude that the municipal official's personal relationship would result in favoritism or prejudice to the person to whom the municipal official has a personal relationship. And whereas Section 5 further provides that a personal relationship constitutes a conflict only where a reasonable person would conclude that the relationship would result in favoritism or prejudice toward the individual with whom the relationship exists. And whereas the members of council who were not the subject of the allegations have reviewed the package of information provided to them and have considered whether the alleged circumstances satisfy the definition of a conflict of interest under Section 5 of the Municipal Conduct Act, Part 2, Conflict of Interest. And whereas council recognizes that disagreement with a decision, professional familiarity, indirect workplace relationships, or speculation regarding potential influence does not in itself establish a conflict of interest under the Municipal Conduct Act, Part 2, Conflict of Interest. And whereas council further recognizes that it has the discretion and authority under the Municipal Conduct Act, Part 2, Conflict of Interest, to consider and dispose of these allegations internally where it is satisfied that the allegations do not establish a breach of the Act. Now, therefore, so I'll read motion number 1. Mayor Craig Scott. Be it resolved that council finds that the allegation respecting Mayor Craig Scott does not constitute a conflict of interest within the meaning of Section 5 of the Municipal Conduct Act, Part 2, conflict of interest. Council finds that the allegation is based solely upon the employment of the mayor's son at the community centre. There is no evidence that the mayor's son possessed a private interest that was directly or indirectly affected by council's consideration of the conflict of interest complaint. There is no evidence that the mayor received any personal benefit or avoided any personal detriment arising from council's decision. The allegation relies upon a speculative reporting relationship between the mayor's son and the complainant, rather than evidence of a personal relationship contemplated by Section 5. There is no evidence that a reasonable person would conclude that the mayor was unable to act impartially or that his relationship with his son would result in favoritism or prejudice toward the complainant. Accordingly, council has determined that the allegation is unfounded, that no breach of Section 5 of the Municipal Conduct Act, Part 2, conflict of interest occurred, and that no external independent investigation is warranted. So moved.
Mover and seconder. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Motion 2, Councillor Karen Goss. Be it resolved that council finds that the allegation respecting Councillor Karen Goss does not constitute a conflict of interest within the meaning of Section 5 of the Municipal Conduct Act, Part 2, conflict of interest. Council finds that the allegation is based solely upon the employment of Councillor Goss's son at the community centre. There is no evidence that her son possessed a private interest affected by council's consideration of the complaint. There is no evidence that Councillor Goss received any direct or indirect personal benefit from council's decision. The alleged reporting relationship between her son and the complainant is speculative and does not establish the type of personal relationship contemplated by Section 5. There is no evidence that a reasonable person would conclude that Councillor Goss was unable to act impartially or that her decision-making would reasonably give rise to favoritism or prejudice. Accordingly, council determines that the allegation is unfounded, that no breach of Section 5 of the Municipal Conduct Act, Part 2, conflict of interest occurred, and that no external independent investigation is warranted. So moved.
Councilor discussion? All in favor?
Aye. And now it's motion number 3. Councillor Scott Martin. Be it resolved that council finds that the allegation respecting Councillor Scott Martin does not constitute a conflict of interest within the meaning of Section 5 of the Municipal Conduct Act, Part 2, conflict of interest. Council finds that Councillor Martin's previous employment with the town does not create a continuing private interest in matters involving town staff. The complainant's subsequent appointment to Councillor Martin's former position does not establish a personal relationship or private interest under Section 5. Collaboration between municipalities and regional initiatives such as the Killy Coast Games represents a professional relationship and does not, without further evidence, establish favoritism or prejudice. Councillor Martin's former role as a union representative during collective bargaining does not create an ongoing conflict of interest, respecting a conflict of interest complaint involving an employee. There is no evidence that Councillor Martin received any personal benefit or possessed any private interest arising from council's consideration of the complaint. There is no evidence upon which a reasonable person would conclude that Councillor Martin was unable to act impartially on behalf of the town. Accordingly, council determines that the allegation is unfounded, that no breach of Section 5 of the Municipal Conduct Act, Part 2, conflict of interest occurred, and that no external independent investigation is warranted. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Be it further resolved that council concludes that the allegations against Mayor Craig Scott, Councillor Karen Goss, and Councillor Scott Martin do not establish a conflict of interest as defined by Section 5 of the Municipal Conduct Act, Part 2, conflict of interest. These allegations are unsupported by evidence demonstrating a breach of the Act, and therefore require no further action or referral for an external independent investigation. Council further directs that the complainant be advised that council has completed its review in accordance with its authority under the Municipal Conduct Act, Part 2, conflict of interest, and considers the matter concluded. And so ends my report.
Move it.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Councillors, you return. Thank you, Councillor Manning. It's a long read. Pass the chair back to you, Your Worship.
All right, thank you very much. All right, moving on. Next on the list, Planning Land Use Development Deputy Mayor.
One moment now, and I'll bring that up here. Okay. Thank you, Mayor Scott. We met on July the 8th, and we have one motion to put forward. A motion for 238 Balling Line, C 2026/071, residential infill land use zone, accessory building in front of building line. The town of Port Bay is in receipt of the application proposing the construction of a 12 by 16-foot accessory building at 238 Balling Line. The subject property is located in the residential residential infill land use zone as per the town's development regulation 2015 to 2025. The accessory building is proposed in the front yard and in front of the building line for the main dwelling. The town's development regulations 2015 to 2025 prohibit the construction of accessory buildings closer to the street line than the front wall of the main dwelling, unless otherwise considered by council in accordance with Regulation 38-2B. At the time of application and inspection, the accessory building was fully constructed but did not have a siding shingling installed. With regards to the development pattern in the area, the property immediately to the east of the subject property has an accessory building located in the western side yard. Accessory buildings are permitted in the side yard in accordance with the RI land use zone table, and Crown Land and aerial imagery indicates that the neighboring accessory building was constructed before 1995. However, yet one property further to the east line of Balling Line has an accessory building located in front of the building line. The town of Torbay did not issue any permits in the construction of this accessory building, and the Crown Land aerial image indicates that the accessory building was constructed sometime after 1996, but before 2008. So would be considered legal non-conforming. Bella Line has a service building located immediately to the west of the subject property, immediately to the east of Balling Line, Kevin Parsons Highway. The utility building is located very close to the street line and is projecting significantly into the building line establishment along the north side of Balling Line. A detailed package report is provided. Recommendation. The committee noted that although the accessory building is prohibited in the front yard of the RI land use zone, it would be an enormous undertaking and expense to move the accessory building to the side yard of the dwelling at this stage. In comparison to the lots in the area, it was also noted that within the unique shape of the subject property, tapered side and rear backyard, and an existing fence across the side yard, the applicants would have a difficult time relocating it to the side yard and meet all subject requirements. The current location of the accessory building does not pose a safety concern or road hazard and is proposed behind the existing tree line. Therefore, the following motion is tabled. The motion to conditionally approve application C 2026/071 in accordance with Regulation 38 2B of the Torbay Development Regulations 2015 to 2025, subject to standard conditions for construction of an accessory building in the town of Torbay. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
And the attached to the Torbay 2026 permit listing for the week ending July 8th, 2026. Therefore, the following motion is tabled. Motion to accept the Torbay 2026 permit listing for the weeks ending July 8th, 2026 as tabled. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
And I believe that so ends my report.
Thank you
Mayor
very
Scott.
much.
You're very welcome.
All righty. Admin and HR, no report, no motions. Okay, corporate services. Counselor Pollard.
Thank you, Your Worship. We met last Thursday, myself and Councillor Manning and Director David. There's information there on the 3 payrolls processed since our last meeting. May 21st to June 3rd was $130,481. June 4th to the 17th was $215,435, and June 18th to July 1st was $132,256. There's also been a number of accounts payable processed. Obviously, we didn't, with the holidays and everything like that, there has been a number of invoices that were in the abeyance. So there was 457 invoices done since our last meeting, and they totaled $1,263,832. Check register is there for anybody who wants to go down through it and ask any questions. Invoices over $5,000. First one was to Brentag Canada Inc. for chlorine and cylinders for the treatment plant in the amount of $9,106.98. C3 Manufacturing for descent climbing systems inspection for the common, $5,416.50, and that's for the climbing wall annual inspection or biannual, whatever it is. Canada Life, the employee group benefits in the amount of $17,499.66. Dexter Construction for the Torbay Roads projects under the previous gas tax fund, the Canada Community Building Fund, $308,330.80. Englobe Corp, the half active, that's the Housing Accelerator Fund, active transportation study in the amount of $6,509.46. And another payment to Englobe as well as part and parcel of that study, $8,679.28. Englobe for Torbay Roads, project 2025 and 2026 consultant fees in the amount of $16,593.35. Esri Canada is the annual ArcGIS subscriptions, which is our mapping and asset management side of things for planning and development, $13,133. GFL Environmental bulk garbage bin spring cleanup in the amount of $6,108.16. GFL Environmental monthly garbage in the amount of $65,830.53. Grand Concourse Authority for the Town Beautification Project is a 50% project payment in the amount of $32,500. Harvey and Company for JB Loader Service in the amount of $9,246.30. Harvey's Oil for diesel, $8,375.19. Newfoundland Power monthly group billing, $16,440.95. Newfoundland Power street lighting in the amount of $20,601.57. Provincial Fence Products Limited, in the amount of, for senior softball field repairs, amount of $5,737.35. Receiver General payroll deductions and remittance for the 1st to the 15th of June, $45,735.14. Stan Tech Consulting for the municipal plan of a progress payment in the amount of $10,260.14. Stan Tech Consulting for the Tyne Howell Pump House retrofit project in the amount of $6,634.22. Wares Construction for Class A gravel in the amount of $7,311.61. Winco softball field maintenance, in the amount of $7,937.99. And WSP for the Water Waste Management Sampling Program in the amount of $8,674.45. All totaling $636,662.63. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The next motion, in your package, you'll see a copy of the draft auditor's report and consolidated financial statements for the year. So staff is bringing forward, after a long review, to table these documents. Recommend the town of Torbay adopt the auditor's report and consolidated financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2025, as presented. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? This is pretty quick, right, to get an auditor's report in? I just want to say to staff, good job on and having that prepared and ready for the auditor to go through. It's a lot less work for them when you guys do a really good job on it, so thanks for that.
The auditor's report is clean, obviously, it means that everything's fine as well. We had a management letter for the first time in years, and there's nothing of negative in terms of that, so that's kudos to staff as well. And I'm sure the timing, as your worship mentioned, is because of the diligence of staff and everything else to get the information in a timely manner. And the auditors have less work to do, and consequently causes us to have less money. I was going to run down through so many items in the financial statement, but I refrained from that and just leave it there. And because it's more complicated than what we do on a budget basis, because it includes amortization and it's got different groupings of expenses. So if anybody has any particular questions, feel free to reach out to staff or myself, and we can certainly get back to anybody on it. I will reference for future purposes the page 21, which is the consolidated schedule of tangible capital assets. And my only reason for bringing this forward is that this is right now is really the only place that we have any indication of where we may be from a infrastructure perspective and where our assets may be in their life cycles. And I think it's important to note that overall we're probably 50% depreciated on all our assets across the board. And so if you think about it, there's a lot of new assets, the common and the depot and things of that nature that actually bring that number up higher than what it is in actual fact. When you look at the net book values of the transportation, water, and sewer side of things, they're essentially 65 to 70% depreciated, which means that we can expect that over the coming years we're going to be facing increasing costs and repairs. And these are only accounting estimates, so obviously there's work that needs to be done around a review of our assets to find out what the actual condition is and whether or not they have more or less life than what the accounting estimates actually say. But at least that gives us some very, very high level indication of where we stand on the asset side of things. And there is a motion coming up that we're going to defer actually in IPW, in infrastructure and public works, relating to asset management. We can speak to that again at that point in time. But that's all I have to say on the audit statements right now.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
There's a donation here for the under-18 girls rowing crew for St. John's Regatta. We were contacted, there are a number of Torbay residents associated with this. So according to policy, the council approved financial support for the purchase of t-shirts for the Torbay under-18 girls rowing crew participating in the 2026 Royal St. John's Regatta to a maximum value of $200. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments?
Yes, please. As my daughter is on the team, I have to declare conflict of interest.
Okay. Poor guy. Good. Okay, any other comments?
Go
All in
team.
favor?
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Good luck, yes. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Next up is a donation to the volleyball nationals. We have a resident Torbay selected to the Team Newfoundland and Labrador under-17 volleyball team. So once again, according to policy, council approve a $100 donation to support Torbay resident attending the 2026 Canada Cup Volleyball Championship in Saskatchewan as a member of Team Newfoundland and Labrador's under-17 volleyball team in accordance with the town's donation policy. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? Good luck to her, too.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And so ends my report, Your Worship.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions? All right, emergency, where am I to here? Emergency Services, Fire Department, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, now, let me get this out. Let me get this one back. Sorry, Rodney. Emergency. Recreation. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought with all the goings on today. Administration, corporate services, emergency services, here we go. All right. On July the 9th, myself and Councillor Martin and our leader, Mr. Rodney, met and discussed several items. And we have submitted to the Resilient Roots people who have come up with they're going to come up with our community wildfire resiliency plan. And so we're hoping to have that project completed before Christmas. So that's the big thing, the extremely important thing with the town. We talked the other night about the municipal emergency management plan, and we have a motion. Be it resolved that the Town of Torbay Council approve and adopt the final approval of the Torbay Municipal Emergency Management Plan as presented in accordance with the requirements of the Emergency Services Act of Newfoundland and Labrador. The plan establishes the framework of the coordinated management of emergencies within the Town of Torbay, outlines the roles and responsibilities of municipal departments and partner agencies, and provides guidance for preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation activities to enhance the safety and resilience of the town. Furthermore, Council directs the Director of Emergency Services to maintain, review, and update the town municipal emergency management plan on a regular basis or as required by legislation or operational needs. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
And we are working towards a regionalization of fire services across the Killy Coast, northeast Avalon. And Rodney's done fabulous work in working towards that and meeting with the various peoples. He's also working on the 9/11 mapping and the civic address, and those are monumental in terms of helping the emergency responders find the proper address and have it all marked. And so he's come up with some wonderful ideas for the town, which will be brought forward at another meeting. So the Torbay Volunteer Fire Department has currently responded to 141 calls for the year, and with no heavy concerns. And our next meeting will be sometime next month, and that is the end of my report.
All right. Thank you very much. Any comments or questions? I'll just make one little comment. So, just so that people are not going to jump to any conclusions. So when we're talking about regionalization of fire services here, we're talking about looking at areas where we can work together with the other communities on delivering fire services. It's not taking over the entire region of fire services. But, and this leads into our study that we had done last year. So I just want to make sure that people kind of understand that and it's clear what we're actually doing, so. And not just the people in our community, but the people in the other surrounding communities too. But thank you very much, Deputy Mayor.
Very welcome.
All right, economic development, tourism, and culture. Councillor Whitten.
Thank you, Mayor. We had our meeting on July 6th over at the History House. At the meeting, we discussed our regional transit feasibility study. This is something that's attached here to our minutes, but it's also going to be at some point put up on our website, so it's going to be there for everybody. Just a few things in the briefing note. Just the background is the town of Torbay, on behalf of the Killick Coast Regional Transportation Initiative, commissioned a feasibility study to examine opportunities for developing a regional public transit system serving the municipalities of Torbay, Portugal Cove, St. Phillips, Logie Bay, Middle Cove, Outer Cove, Flat Rock, Ballyne, Pooch Cove, and Wabana. The study assessed regional demographics, travel patterns, public engagement results, governance models, vehicle technologies, operating models, funding opportunities, and implementation approaches. The objective was to develop a transit system that is appropriately scaled for the region while improving accessibility, affordability, regional connectivity, economic opportunity, and environmental sustainability. So just some of the key findings. The study concludes that there is a strong case for establishing a regional public transit system based on several factors, including the Killick Coast region has a population of approximately 24,600 residents, and increasing demand for transportation options outside private vehicle ownership. Public engagement demonstrated broad community support for regional transit, with 468 survey responses indicating strong interest in reliable and affordable service. Primary travel destinations would include Memorial University, the Health Science Center at Avalon Mall, downtown St. John's, Stavanger Drive, Costco, maybe, and St. John's International Airport. It would be there for employment, shopping, medical appointments, and recreation were identified as the primary reasons. Residents travel outside the communities and would need this service. Many residents express willingness to transfer to Metrobus if the schedules and fares are coordinated. So just the background of why it is that we did it. There will be the financial part of it. It's fairly expensive, but there are going to be funding opportunities with the capital funding opportunities are available through programs such as the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Green Municipal Fund and the Federal Build Community Strong Fund. So just a little background on that, and to keep an eye out for it, because I really think it's going to be something that will benefit our communities in the long run. We also had a little chat about the History House Annex project update. They had a meeting with Vigilant Atlantic on July 3rd, and a contract is being prepared for review and signing, so preliminary work is underway. The Manning Collection improvements are being made to the web page based on input from users. Preparations are underway to get the Genealogy Center and the History House set up, and the furniture and technology assets are in progress. We're still the Supporting Newcomers project. Our multicultural festival and the market was a great success. If anybody had a chance to go over there, it was a beautiful day, and everybody that was there, I think, thoroughly enjoyed it. And I picked up some stuff for my kids who really enjoyed it as well. Our marketing communications, promotion of our ongoing events, town events and programs. The time in Torbay is coming up, so we're kind of pushing that. The History House, working and continuing with the Bradmore Memorial, which is, I think, the highlight here. We should have the final product in the coming weeks, so hopefully that will get going. We're also in discussions with Pooch Cove Arts Group, and that's regarding the participation in a rotating art display for the Killick Coast, but they're still gathering information, so It's kind of like the mermaids that were downtown once upon a time. I would think, I'm not 100% sure on what it is they're looking at, but anyway, that concludes my report, and I'm not 100% on the next meeting, I believe, but we'll let you know. Thank you.
Thanks. I think with that public arts thing, what they're looking at is that any participating municipality would pour a concrete slab, I think it's 4 feet
Yeah.
by 6 feet.
Yeah,
And that would be the place where the public art that
We
got
just-
created will be displayed in our community.
yeah.
And
They
probably
rotate them just as,
there's
you know,
probably
different
opportunities.
pieces, right?
Yeah.
But I used to love those, the mermaids downtown, and there was some other piece that they used to have that they'd rotate around.
Yeah, there was that catfish bony thing.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
yeah, they were
happen
pretty
too, yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It was nice to have around. But anyway, that's it.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much. Infrastructure, Public Works, Councillor Manning.
Well, my turn again.
No,
Okay.
Councillor Martin. Hang on now.
No.
Councillor Manning. Sorry.
That close.
That close
No,
up on you.
my eyes got it pulled up. I just had him tested the other day.
All right, so our committee met on July the 8th. Councillor Martin, Director Winter, and myself. Minutes are included certainly in the package, and most projects are now ongoing or ramping up to start. So I'll highlight a few things here. North Pond Water Treatment Plant project is still on track for July start. We're now approaching the 60% design stage. Our 2025-26 roads project is in process with all the streets now 95% completed. So that's good that the progress has been made on that and moving right along. 2026 trail development. So we're currently working through some land and permitting issues and the bypass to the Bridge Road Trail. Director Winter, now this is one. Director Winter gave an update on North Pond's water levels. So right now, we are currently 21 inches down. This same time last year, we were down 41 inches. So that's a very good thing. Still down, but it's a very good thing. But also too, we need to remind residents that like, even though the pond is looking good up there and everything, it's still a good idea that everyone still in their own way be conserving water and just, help the process along until, I don't know, we get a lot more rain or a lot more snow. But it falls on us too as residents to do our part. Now, we have a few motions for consideration by council. And because they involved a multi-year, I shall step away and let Councillor Martin take care of these.
Only one. You can come back for the second. So the Common Generator Project 2020-2023. During installation, it was determined that some extra wiring and assistance from the manufacturer was required, so a couple of change orders are required. Committee reviewed the change orders and agreed to put forward a motion to approve. This project is still under budget. It's a motion to approve change order 01 for the contractor in the amount of $2,921, including HST for the Torbay Generator Project, number 17 MYCW 22000066. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Second motion, to approve change order 02 for the contractor in the amount of $3,060.38, including HST, for the Torbay Generator Project number 17 MYCW 22000066. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor
Anytime.
Martin. Well, this one one more thing. We did have a motion there for asset management, but after further consideration, we're gonna defer this motion, so that we can do some further internal discussion on this before we move it forward. So, in saying that,
So we can just ask for unanimous consent. to
okay,
defer.
and I'm
All
not
right
sure,
with everybody?
okay,
We don't have the motion.
no,
Okay.
all right?
Yeah.
And in saying that, so ends my report. Now, certainly any questions or something you'd like to bring up, I've got knowledge there behind me that can help me out.
Any questions, anybody?
I'd just like to comment on that asset management deferral. In my mind, I think that it's important that this policy come forward and we deal with it as I say as quickly as we can. I spoke to the condition of the assets, at least on a very high level overall, and we've been pushing this for years. I think it was 2018 we did an asset management plan, actually framework. I know I circulated it to council a while back, and I forwarded it to the director and Patrick as well when they were doing their asset management study. This, it involves everybody, involves all departments, so everyone has to be aware of what it is and what the implications of it are once we go down the road. And then tied strongly to it is going to be how we're going to address the financial impact of it and the plans around that. So it's really hard to adopt it and agree to what's there necessarily without all the other backbone to it as well. So
Yeah, I think you're right, and to your point, when we adopted that in 2018, is because we were required to do it through, for the gas tax money. And if any municipality didn't have an asset management plan, at least draft something put in place, you wouldn't get your funding applications, allocations. It's good to see it get to this point, and hopefully next month we'll be able to adopt it.
Absolutely.
All right, that it?
That's it. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Recreation Community Services, Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. Myself and Deputy Mayor Tapper and Director Martin met on Tuesday, July 7th. We reviewed the summer program and events. The Director gave us an update that the ticket sales for the adult dance for the time in Torbay are very low. We're going to have to look at that. If we don't get some uptake soon, we'll have to look at canceling the adult dance. So if you're going to go, buy your tickets now. Don't wait to buy them at the door. The facility side, the soccer field, we have some netting, and the director discussed two options for replacing the net at the soccer field. And we agreed we go with the option to increase the netting to 35 feet, and it should be done based on an incident that occurred in 2023 during the Killicoast Games, where a soccer ball was kicked over the current netting onto Bolley line, striking a windshield. So we're moving to go with the higher netting. The History House, SEA received a permit from Service NL to allow for electrical work on July 3rd and are proceeding with the final work. The director is still waiting on a quote from SEA for site cleanup once the mold remediation project is complete. And I do have a motion regarding that. It should be on everyone's table. So council is requested to consider the attached quote for change order number 1 related to the ongoing mold remediation work at the Torbay History House. During the remediation process, additional work was identified as necessary to complete the mold abatement within a 12 by 12 room. The additional scope of work includes grinding and painting the existing concrete floor, supplying and installing mold-resistant drywall on 2 walls, HEPA vacuuming and disinfecting furniture and contents within the room, and removal and disposal of existing wall panels. The total cost of the change order is $6,106.50, HST included. I'd recommend the council approve change order number 1 to allow the additional remediation work to proceed and support the successful completion of this project. The motion, recommended that council approve change order number 1 for the History House mold remediation project in the amount of $6,106.50, HST included, for additional mold abatement work, including concrete floor preparation and painting, installation of mold-resistant drywall, HEPA vacuuming and disinfection of furniture and contents, and removal and disposal of wall panels as outlined in the contractor's quotation. So moved.
second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. During the meeting, we also talked about e-scooters and e-bikes. The director updated the committee that e-bikes and e-scooters are being an issue at Torbay Common, creating a safety concern as they're being driven around the playground and splash pad at high speeds. Director is going to look into some signage and social media messaging, and will also see what other communities are doing to combat this issue. The Inclusion Advisory Committee met on July 7th to discuss the various items. The next event are the outdoor concert on July 21st at 6:30 at Torbay Common, and a barbecue on August 27th at 3 p.m. at Upper Three Corner Pond Park. Just a personal note, we attend these events and they are phenomenal. The kids love it. The committee does a great job. Kudos to everyone involved. Waterways Pond, director is looking into a request from a resident to have a life preserver on site at this location. And the funding the department has received from the Government of Newfoundland Summer Camp Inclusion Grant in the amount of $4,000, and there's a motion attached to that. Move that the town of Torbay accept the grant funding in the amount of $4,000 from the Department of Social Supports and Wellbeing for Summer Camp Inclusion, and authorize the town clerk to execute all necessary agreements. So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And the last one there, we discussed the application for 2027 Play On the host. So we reviewed the potential to express of interest in hosting this event in 2027, but agreed it is not feasible to do financially, and the capacity commitment would be required.
Did we get something back from them on that outline what would be involved and the cost? Because I know when they initially sent it to me. Okay, because they were talking about different size communities. It didn't matter how big your community was. You could
It
have-
did, but there's still a lot of money up front. Director Martin can speak to that.
Yeah, I met with them on a video meeting and just kind of asked some questions that we had, and it is still significant. Even the lowest would probably be 100,000, 150,000 commitment, and then the more teams you have, the higher that rises. So it could go up right up to 500,000, especially also where we're so close to St. John's and Mount Pearl. Could be a significant cost.
No revenue associated with it?
No revenue unless you'd get sponsorships or funding. That's potential revenue that could go towards it.
Is it usually sponsor heavy, or is it usually heavily subsidized event?
Usually, even with sponsorship, from what I got from them, the municipality would still have to pay at least a minimum of $100,000 just to be able to host it.
Excuse me, Jen, if I just could speak to that also. Usually the monies gained from hosting this type of thing is the influx of people it brings to the community. And we discussed being so close to St. John's, a lot of people wouldn't stay here to eat. They wouldn't be housed here in the town. So we felt that St. John's would reap the benefit where we would have to pay the upfront cost.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, that it does.
All right, thank you very much.
That was the end of the report.
All right, thank you.
One question on
Go ahead.
the soccer name. Did we not discuss that a while back? I don't know if this council or previous council.
Previous
On that 35-foot netting going out. That's pretty pricey. And we had discussed that for the one soccer ball that went out there in the 20 years that it was operating. Sorry for that. I thought we.
We discussed.
It's gotta come back anyway for
I
further
know.
discussion, but I mean,
We did
there was some.
discuss it, and we said that we weren't gonna do it.
I think we discussed it, and the netting that's there now we need to replace anyways. So we discussed two options. The one, I think to replace what's there was just under 8,000, and the one to increase it is 11,000. So it's about a $3,000 difference between the two heights,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
And the poles are already sufficiently high, right?
The poles are good. I think they'd have to add one pole.
There's a higher number in my head for some reason. I don't know why, but.
I was there in 2023 when it happened, so I have no issue putting that net higher.
You might be thinking the 50,000 for the netting towards the trees on the tree line. That we're definitely not going to do.
Maybe, yeah.
All right, that's good.
That's more the order of magnitude that my little brain was
All
thinking.
right, seems like you guys did your homework on it, so I'm good. Thank you
Can I
very
ask
much.
one more
Go ahead.
question, seems we're getting to the end, and I forgot to ask on economic development. I noticed there was a note there that the Vigilant and the Annex project kickoff is going ahead. Have we decided on a plan for the Annex for History House? I know at one point in time, we talked about, the library possibly going there. And I know from some outside discussions, is not in some staff's mind that that's the way it was gonna go. So I'm just wondering if, what is that conversation with Vigilant gonna look like at the end of the day if we're not familiar with it, or at least I'm not familiar, maybe I missed it, I don't know, but I don't remember having a conversation on what direction we're going with on the annex.
Yeah, I'm not sure that council actually sat down and met to talk about it, but Kerry can give an update.
So Vigilant was awarded the contract to do project management, so that would be management of the entire construction of the annex and also for the design of the annex. It was never, we haven't had the discussion about putting the library in there. I mean, I know it's been tossed around, but there was nothing firm on that was something, and it's our discussions with Vigilant haven't, or anyone haven't talked about the library moving into that building.
Okay, so I guess my question is I'm confused as to what, if that is not on the table, we haven't discussed it, how do we move ahead with the opening discussions with Vigilant? Will the library have, if the library was going there, would that impact what that construction looks like?
Well, the library has it never came up in our meetings or discussions, whether it was committee or council, about putting the library in there. So, but that doesn't mean it can't be put on the table.
I think,
Okay, so how do we get to that discussion stage as to what?
I think that
I can't,
I think that we have to bring that to our larger committee of council to have a discussion about it, because I know that at the time when we were considering building that annex, that was one of the driving factors that was part of the council's decision to move forward. And, but considering the sensitivities around that, particularly with the library and the library board, I don't think that we should have that discussion now, that we should have it at our committee of the whole.
I don't disagree, I
Okay.
just
But I
wondering
agree
where,
that
where the
Yes.
design and discussion around the design and use of the annex discussion is.
Yeah, and that whole discussion's a clean slate with Vigilant. Like, we're not giving them any fence posts as such at this point. One thing, because the project is funded by government, for the most part, ACOA would have an issue about a publicly funded infrastructure that would impact private business. So that would be the only caution I would mention.
which leads into the reason I don't want to discuss that now.
Yeah.
So we have to take it away, but I think that we should have that discussion before we put anything down in plans with Vigilant on moving forward. Council needs to have that discussion about what we want to do. All right,
So ends my report.
okay, thank you. Is that okay, Tony?
Yes, I don't know what the annex looks like, that's the bottom line.
Right, and I don't either, and I don't think anybody really does now yet, until we come up with what the plan is gonna be. All right, moving on, liaison committees. Mayor's
Excuse me,
Congress.
can I make a quick, I forgot, my humble apologies. I forgot to talk about the notice of motion.
That's not up yet.
I'm sorry, okay. I didn't see it on the tummy.
I got you.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay. So Atlantic Mayor's Congress is meeting September 10th to the 12th, and I'll be going. In Truro, if anybody is interested in going to attend that, let Kim know. She can registry, and you can go and check it out. Intergovernmental Affairs, I sent a request to Minister Pettin the other day to have a meeting with him to discuss our capital works funding options related to being dropped from the multi-year capital works funding program and included in the municipal capital works funding program. Brian, have we had an opportunity yet to look at what that municipal capital works funding program looks like for us? In terms of if it's gonna work for us or not?
No, not really, not yet.
We haven't had a chance to look at it?
No. I do know that the window is opening in September to apply for funding, so.
But it's 1 year, right?
I think it's a 1 year thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got my own ideas anyway on it that I'll talk to the minister about. And, but I'm just waiting to hear back from him now and what that meeting is gonna look like and who's he gonna wanna include in it. So once I get that information back, I'll let everybody know. Jack Byrne, Councillor Pollard.
Nothing to report, Your Worship.
Thank you. Northeast Avalon Joint Council. I got a bunch of, I added a few meeting packages and notes there from the prior meetings, if you want to go and have a look. The last meeting was at it was the summer social at the City of St. John's. Myself and Deputy Mayor attended, and it was a pretty short meeting. There wasn't much of an agenda, more of a highlighting, I guess, some of the things that Northeast Avalon Joint Council is doing. I don't know, Deputy Mayor, if you have anything that you want to add?
No, food was good.
It was.
Yep.
All right, roll the flag. Sudbury. No update. I do know that they're inundated with messages and complaints from people regarding speeding, loud mufflers, cars and motorcycles, e-bikes and scooters, dirt bikes, ATVs. And they do have that new reporting tool. And I would encourage anybody that if you have these issues that you're seeing them, please go on to that website and report those, because, as we've said a million times, our RNC and the RCMP, they determine where their patrols and their resources are going to go based on the need. And the need comes from the complaints and the concern raised by residents in particular areas. The RNC that patrols Torbay also does St. John's, Mount Pearl, CBS, you know, all around from here to Babels or Witless Bay somewhere. So we need to make sure that if we want to get our share of patrols, that we're alerting them when we can. And of course, staff contacts the RNC on a regular basis. Sandy is in contact with them. But that's sometimes just not enough. All right, and the Urban Municipalities Committee is happening in August in Bay Roberts. It was in that info note that came out. So as far as I know, myself and you were going, Deputy Mayor?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Notice of motion, Deputy Mayor.
Yes, good. I thought I was forgetting it. So thank you. So the town has gotten a set of bylaws for land use development and building codes and whatnot. And rather than pass it tonight, we thought that it would be wonderful if all council members and all staff who are affiliated with such things could have a look at these things and bring forward any motions or any thoughts, I should say, to the committee for further review. So we are hoping to table the motion in August as opposed to now. So subject to the new Town of Torbay building bylaws, whereas as per the town's and Local Service District Act 2023, Section 7(1)(c), is mandatory for the town of Torbay to adopt a bylaw regarding the controlling and respecting the design, construction, alteration, reconstruction, minimum size lot, and occupancy of buildings and classes of buildings, and the demolition, removal, and relocation of maintenance of buildings. And whereas in making these bylaws, the town council shall adopt the National Building Code of Canada, the National Energy Code of Canada, and the National Energy Code of Canada for buildings. And whereas, as per section 7(4) of the Act, the town council may adopt the National Fire Code of Canada. And whereas the town of Torbay Development Regulations 2015 to 2025 regulate land use development requirements, minimum lot area, and layout requirements. The town of Torbay currently has not adopted the new 2025 National Building Codes and does not have detailed bylaws regarding construction and occupancy requirements for buildings applicable in the town as required under Section 7(1)(c) of the new Act. And whereas it is mandatory for the town of Torbay to adopt building bylaws, therefore, the Planning and Development Department has drafted a bylaw titled Torbay Building Bylaws as attached. Therefore, this notice of motion is submitted as the Planning and Land Use Development Committee will table the new Torbay Building Bylaws with recommendation for adoption at the next August 10th, 2026 regular council meeting, public meeting, and submitted by myself as chair of the Planning and Land Use Development Committee, July 9th, 2026. So, as I said, hopefully everybody will have a look at and go through that thoroughly, because there's a lot of very interesting aspects to it.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you very much. So, but I have a question, but I just want to be careful because I can't be debating this thing. So the purpose of putting it in as a notice of motion, was that to put the background information in there so the public can see it too?
Yes, and for us to review it, so
Okay.
council review, so we can have some.
All right. One thing I did notice when I was reviewing our rules of procedure, that apparently when we're introducing a bylaw or a change to a bylaw, we're supposed to be given a notice of motion. Now, we've never done it in the past. The only times that we've ever done a notice of motion is when somebody, an individual councillor, wants to put something to, you can either put a motion directly to the floor if you want, but it requires a 2/3 majority. And in most cases, it's more of a better practice to do notice of motion for whatever the reason is that you want to do it. And it gives the clerk the opportunity for a week or 2 weeks to do research for you, to be able to get your motion in to where you want. That's not the case here. This is obviously thoroughly researched and ready to go.
This
Right.
bylaw though, Mayor, is a little different, as we just changed our policies.
Right.
Normally into bylaws according to the local towns and service district.
Yes.
Act.
We just changed the names,
Yes, that's
and there wasn't really much changing to them, but
This is new.
this is new. Yeah. So we'll have to look at that going forward. It might be a best practice that we may have to adopt going forward, simply because prior to this new legislation, all of our regulations were just that. They were regulations and policies. Now all those regulations and policies have been changed into bylaws, which require a notice of motion to make changes, so. All right, I just thought it was interesting. And I know that maybe some members of the public who watch might have an interest in how come you made a notice of motion, and that's why. All right, new business. Everybody passed, except me. And I'm just gonna be quick. I just wanna say thank you to everybody, council and staff, for the work that you've been putting in for the last month since we met. And I know you guys have been busy, and it's been a busy summer so far, and it's only gonna get better, hopefully. And in August, and I don't know the date, but I did receive an email from Mayor Seymour down in Bay Roberts, and they're gonna be doing something down there. I'm not sure on the date. once I figure it out, find that email, I'll forward it on to Kim, and she'll let council know, and if anybody wants to go, you can head on
It's
down.
August 1st. but I
August
don't-
what?
August 1st, but I don't have the time yet.
Okay. All right. That's it. All right. Q&A, is there someone that would like to get on the second Q&A session? Go ahead. Robbie.
It's good news to hear that the water level in North Pond is not as bad or dire as it was this time last year. But I'm wondering if council would consider putting out a little more formal directive to the residents to be very mindful of their water usage. We don't know what the situation is going to be like in a month from now. And it would be lovely if we didn't get into the situation we were in last year. So if there could be more, public announcements encouraging residents to do their best to conserve water.
Yeah, I know
I think-
that Brian, the director, is working on some conservation policies based on some things other towns are doing, but we can always put out messaging about
Yeah.
water conservation. It should be always.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're working on, and what that messaging should look like, and how it's gonna grow. Because as we learned last year, that, until things got so bad, I don't know that people they weren't as tuned in as they were until,
Yeah.
say, when we made that video at the water supply, and people really saw what was going on, and they certainly reduced their consumption. Because up to that point, when we were putting out those notices, we could notice the consumption was going down little bits.
Just a bit, yeah.
But when we did that, and then, of course, the boil order, it just dropped off a cliff, and how much water people were using. Like, they did a really good job of conserving, so.
Yeah.
People will do it, but it
They will
takes a
do
while
it,
sometimes.
yeah.
right?
And let's face it has been dry already. It's just not the way summers are meant to be here in Newfoundland, but it's the reality now. So, yeah, it would be nice to be proactive about that message.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, our next public council meeting is scheduled to take place Monday, August 10th. My birthday, I won't be here. No, I'll be here. Although, I never know. Right here in the town of Torbay, the council chambers, and with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Deputy Mayor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Just now?
I saw she had her hand up, so I just